Hey friends. Today I'm not going to do my usual content. I was actually going to start our series on the Army of Northern Virginia again today. But yesterday, um, September 8th, 2022, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II passed away. Now, for us Americans, it's just another person. But honestly, it isn't. A lot of my friends were actually very shocked to find out I was shocked and a little taken back by everything. Especially because I am such a pro Ireland kind of person. Being against the British monarchy would be something you'd be against. But Queen Elizabeth, she was a remarkable woman. She became heir to the greatest empire on earth when she was just a little girl because her uncle chose that he did not want it. He chose a woman over his birthright. And her father, Albert, who would later be George VI, would be forced to take up his brother's mantle as king and emperor. Then she, in the 50s, would follow in his footsteps when he passed away from cancer. So behind me today, I have a picture of Balmoral. Balmoral is the royal Scottish residence. It was actually bought by her great grandmother, Queen Victoria, as a summer residence for the royal family in the Scottish Highlands. This is where she passed away yesterday. So what happens next is going to be quite historic, and that's why I felt it necessary to talk about it here. The next 10 days will be days of observed mourning. Her body will be prepared at Balmoral. She will be held in state in Balmoral, and then she will travel by train back to London. At London, she'll be held in state at Buckingham Palace for a few days. Then she'll be moved to Westminster, the halls of Parliament, where she will again, much like her father and her grandfather, be laid in state for the nation and the world. Then there will be the funeral. I believe it will be at Westminster Abbey. I'm not sure what England's policy is still because the Prince Consort, Philip, he had his funeral at Windsor Castle at St. George's Chapel. But wherever the service is, she will be brought from wherever the service is, and she will be buried at St. George's Chapel next to her husband, father, mother, sister, grandfather, and I even believe Queen Victoria is buried there. She'll be buried there with the whole Hanoverian, Saxe Coburg, Windsor family. So, from a history perspective, today is important because let me get a little personal. My father has passed away. Yesterday, when the news broke, it hit me because I realized she had been queen my father's entire life from birth to death. And I realized there's many people that she has been their queen that period. My grandmother was 13 when she took power as queen. It's just haunting to realize what she witnessed in her tenure as monarch of England, from incidents like the Suez Canal incident when Anthony Eden in Israel helped seize the Suez Canal during I believe it was the 7 Days War. She witnessed the fall of the Soviet Union. Her first prime minister was Winston Churchill. Churchill was born in 1874 during the reign of her great grandmother, Queen Victoria. So, in a greater sense, her passing is so much more. It's a historical moment. My friend yesterday said, I'm so tired of living in historical moments. And heaven knows these last few years, we've all lived into historical moments. The next thing that's going to happen after the funeral, Charles, who has already been named King Charles III, the process of having his monogram installed everywhere will begin. So what that means is every government building, every pound, everything is going to be monogrammed CR3. Right now, they're currently all ER2 for Elizabeth II's reign. It will be Charles III's reign next. Charles will be the first Charles of the Windsor Saxe Coburg line. Now, I keep saying Windsor Saxe Coburg. That's because the royal family, their house is technically House of Windsor, but that's not their real name. Much like Prince Philip's name was not Mountbatten. His family's name was actually Battenberg. They changed it to Mountbatten in World War One when anti-German sentiments spread across England. So the Windsors before World War One was actually Saxe Coburg, and it was Queen Elizabeth's grandfather, George V, who actually changed the name to Windsor, primarily because Windsor Castle was where family mainly would go, to be completely honest. But so Charles is the first Charles of that line. Charles was actually the name used by the Stuart kings of England. Charles I, who was the one who caused the English Civil War, and Charles II, who caused the incident over succession, which actually ended the Stuart line and brought in the Hanovers, which indirectly brought in the Saxe-Coburgs. Queen Victoria was a Hanover, and she married Albert of Saxe-Coburg, and that's where the Saxe-Coburgs came from. Same thing happened in World War One with the Belgians. The King of Belgium was a Saxe-Coburg, but when Germany invaded Belgium, he changed his name to the house to the Royal House of Belgium. But the monogramming will happen next, and then the coronation will happen. So the reason this is so historical is we haven't seen a ruler of the United Kingdom die in 70 years. When George VI died, you got to understand, it was under completely different circumstances. He was, all things considered, not an old man. He was the king who led England through the Second World War. When he died, Churchill was his prime minister again. So it was like, oh, this duo is back together. So he was a beloved king, and he only served about 30 years. His daughter served 70. His daughter is the longest reigning English monarch. Louis XIV, I think, still beats her as the longest living monarch, but I believe he was like 4 years old when he took power as king. So he, unless someone becomes king when they're like 3, I don't think anyone's going to beat him. But this is a monumental moment. Again, a lot of people are shocked by my look on things. Again, I am an Irish Catholic. My family left Ireland because of the persecution. When I was a reenactor, I was in the Irish Brigade, which is a unit that was funded, which was made up of mainly Fenians, Irish Republicans who wanted to go back to Ireland and free it. But I can recognize that I can respect someone regardless of who they is. And to a certain point, I admire the Queen. She was someone who did not want to be queen. She was put into that position, like I said earlier, because of the actions of her uncle, who did not want to be king over a woman, which, again, you know what? Who cares? If you love someone, you love someone. But he put her and her father in this situation, and for 7 decades, she ruled with poise and dignity. Scandal after scandal, embarrassment after embarrassment from her children, she would still be there smiling, waving, and being there for her people. We really did lose a great person yesterday. She really was just everything you would want in a leader. Her son, let's hope he doesn't follow the trend of the name Charles. I actually said that to a few family members yesterday. I was like, Charles isn't a very lucky name when it comes to British monarchs, but that's the best we can hope for. He is the oldest man to assume the mantle of king. I never thought I would. I honestly thought it was gonna be William. I thought she was gonna wait out Charles, but I was wrong. But she was a great woman, and it is quite a loss. It really is. So tomorrow we'll be back to our regular content. Well, not tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday. Um, Monday we should be back. We have a few more videos. We have Thomas Jackson. We have Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and then the end of the war. And then I'm going to put up a poll to see which subject you want to do next. I'm a little upset the Africa stuff didn't go off, but it is what it is. I like the subjects. I'll choose subjects I like at the beginning, but once I put up polls, it's going to be up to you guys. But yesterday we did lose a great person, and my thoughts and prayers are with the royal family. My thoughts and prayers are with William and his children. William is now going to be the Prince of Wales. He's the successor to the throne. And last time we had a Queen of England who lasted this long, her son did not last that long because, again, he's very old. So, William, you always know, when you're in a certain situation how it's going to turn out. I always knew I was going to see 3 monarchs in my lifetime, maybe even 4. But it's weird. It's weird that it happened. It's weird that she's passed away. My sister actually lives in Great Britain, and I actually found out yesterday because again, I don't feel comfortable saying where I work, but I work for an entertainment company that deals with the public a lot. And I was walking through one of our properties, and I bumped into English guests who were crying, and I asked what happened, and they told me. I was like, oh. But our heart out to our friends in England. I know I do have English viewers. My condolences for your loss. This is quite a loss. She was a great woman. Thank you all for watching. Again, I know this wasn't like my usual content, but you can't have a historical event happen before your eyes and not comment about it. My thoughts and prayers are with them all. I'm not trying to get a win off this or anything. I just felt something needed to be said. After 7 decades, she helped end the imperialist system the British Empire turned into, creating the Commonwealth, which I have friends that live in many of the Commonwealth nations. She will be surely missed. Thanks for watching. If you're a new subscriber, I ask you subscribe. Again, most of my videos aren't like this. This is really rare. I don't really ever get this personal, talk about things like this, but how can't you? Honestly, I say I did a video on Andersonville, which was, not pleasant for me at all, considering what happened. But thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and comment, and we'll see you in the next one.